Alright, let's get straight into it. It's game one of the Valleycon tournament, and I'm up against Legion of Everblight. And what really frustrated me right from the outset is that I came down to the event planning on playing the eButcher Doom Reaver Spam tier list 7 games in a row, and the Vlad list was a last resort, but I did actually choose to play Vlad this first game, because as soon as I saw his lists, he had this epic Lilith list, which was the exact counter to eButcher. It's almost as though he had sat down and written a list that was going to be perfectly taking Butcher apart. It had eLylyth, 2 Ravagores, Striders, Raptors, Anyssa Ryvaal, and the Strider solos. And I was like, man, how annoying for me to come up against that first round. His other list was Callus, a bunch of Legionnaires. I think he still had a whole lot of shooting in it as well. And I figured, well, if I take eButcher anyway and he goes for the Lilith list, well, there's probably only a chance of between 20 and 40% chance that I'll win, if that. And with the Callus list, he might still take me out anyway. My chances might be somewhere between 60 and 80%. Now, this is actually a new player. He's not been playing very long, and he told me he didn't actually have the models for one of those lists, but he wouldn't tell me which. So I just, decided to play it, with a little bit of logic and go with the pVlad list. This would be a matchup where I'd be using Wind Wall and shield myself from a lot of the Raptor and Strider and Ravagore shooting. But the other problem was this is process of elimination scenario, and what annoys me even more is there's a massive forest in the middle of the table. He's playing Legion, he doesn't care about that forest, but I'm playing 4 Jacks, and if I took my Doom Reavers, they would be stuck as well in the forest. So just a bit of frustration in the first round. I've gone with pVlad anyway, let's just see how it turns out. Next photo, here's his deployment. He's basically spread out his Striders over the left and sending his Raptors on the right. This is his right, by the way, and Ravagores with Lilith in the middle, one Shredder as well. So next image, Vlad moves up and basically just squeezes everybody into the 3-inch bubble for Wind Wall, and I'm just planning on plonking 4 inches forward every turn, and the Ravagores are going to shoot at me and scatter and blight me a little bit, but hopes are that I can move forward, eventually get in range to charge the Jacks into the Ravagores and kill them, and then if that happens, Vlad might be able to walk around with Blood of Kings for a while and see how it goes. But the problem is I'm not going to be able to win a scenario. I can't actually control the zone that the forest is in, which is really annoying me. Next image, moving up with the Striders, he's got a maximum unit of them, I think he does, yeah, and led by a little solo over here, and Anyssa Ryvaal is behind them, going to be moving up with her as well. Next image, Ravagores move out a little bit, trying to shoot at me, but some of the scatter shots that he pulled off didn't go quite well. And of course, upkeeping Shadow Pact, because otherwise I can fire my destroyers at his Ravagores, but since I can't do that, that's a bit of a pain. That's what eLylyth's like. She outshoots you and you can't shoot her back. Next image, moved up again, and this time there's a big sort of AoE which causes a point of damage if I walk into it, which the Jacks are generally happy to take, but the mechanics have to sort of spread around. The Doggo has 5 boxes, of course, so he can take 1, but, if this goes on for too long, it's going to start to annoy me, but the Jack's just so slow having to move around here. Eventually, if he does take a little bit of bait, I might be able to feat and charge his Ravagores with my Jacks, but that will leave Vlad open, and the problem is that he needs to cast Signs of Portents each turn if I'm going to be attacking, but if he casts that, I can't cast Blood of Kings, so I might be vulnerable, and if I cast Signs of Portents and Wind Wall, I don't have any focus left to give out to the Jacks, so, a little bit of a problem situation. Next photo, the Greylord Ternions decided that they couldn't actually fit inside Vlad's bubble after all, so they ran back behind this building just to deny him points, and because if he comes after them with a solo, that means that he's not attacking the main group, and I might even be able to walk out with Signs of Portents and do some sprays. Next photo, Anyssa Ryvaal, she has used Prey on, I can't remember who it was, but she's moved around the back of my army, taking some pot shots. She can't affect the bubble because she doesn't have a magical bow, but she can try and kill the Ternions. She wasn't actually in range after this photo was taken, but that's where she's wound up. So next image, my opponent, again being a bit of a newer player, makes what I believe to be a mistake, and that is just to run his Raptors up to engage the Jacks. And I assume that he's done that just to tie me up and prevent me from feating and going after the Ravagore straight away. but really it just gives me the Raptors, and I don't really take any penalties for it. Just mind you, my opponent did tell me that it recognised my voice and he'd been watching my videos, so chances are he'll be seeing this one as well. And props to him. He was a great guy to play against, and I think that he'll start to do really, really well with his Legion. But again, this little move here with the Raptors, not a great one. He would have been better off just not committing them, holding them reserved for a while. Usually that's the mark of a really a good judgment player, if you are not making the most of your units sometimes just because you can't, but you're keeping them reserved and you're waiting patiently for that time where they will be useful. So next image, after this I've basically cast Signs of Importance, I've wiped out the Raptors. One of my destroyers has turned around and shot Anyssa, and I don't think killed her, but the Ternions moving around to spread out as well, just waiting for Anyssa to take the bait, and then one of them will spray her back. One problem here is I've actually moved the destroyer out of the second objective in the forest, so he'll be able to go get a point, so that's just a bad mistake from me. Talking about my opponent's mistakes, but I'm just as foolish, really, playing this one really badly. This is only my second game with pVlad, so again, it's a bit... it's a bit dumb that I'm playing a tournament with a brand new faction and caster when I play so many practice games with Circle and Menoth. But again, I just couldn't come up with the right lists for those other factions for this particular weird tournament. Next image, another mistake from my opponent. He has actually left too many Fury points on his Ravagore, and he's frenzied into his own Shredder, and I believe killing his own Shredder. Or is it a Stinger? No, it is a Stinger. So that was quite funny that happened. Gives me a little bit of advantage here with only one Ravagore shooting me this turn, and of course him losing a Warbeast right off the bat. No more Bushwhack, but that's life. So next image, at this point, he's even assaulting me, well, not assaulting me, but getting in the way with his Striders. So I believe he's done this because he perceived that the Jacks were capable of actually feating and charging his Ravagores this turn. So he's screened me with his Striders, but again, this gives me an opportunity just to hang around and kill them and just wait for a little while. But he is continuing to batter at me with the Ravagores. The Jacks are starting to take some damage now, and he very nearly put Vlad on fire. And if Vlad gets put on fire, then the game actually could start really going against me. Next image, what I've done here is I have decided to move the destroyer on the right hand side back into the zone. I've cast Signs of Importance with Vlad, and I've given focus to the Jacks. So Vlad's out of focus, Signs of Importance is up, and the Jacks have feated and moved around. I've wiped out most of the Striders, and I charged in with the two Decimators and destroyed one of his Ravagores. Put some damage on Lilith, but she transferred it to another Ravagore there, and that's the end situation after that turn. But I'm sad to say that this is a huge mistake for me, because what happens now is that Lilith moves around one of the Jacks, pops her feet, the Striders kill the mechanics that are placed in front of Vlad, then Lilith fires like 3 shots at Vlad and kills him. So that's the first game down the drain, unfortunately, because I decided to be greedy here and put focus on the Jacks instead of casting Windwall. Windwall actually wouldn't have helped against Lilith because of her magic bow, but probably the better move here would have just been to camp and kill his Striders, don't care about his Ravagores, cast Windwall, and then as the game slowly, painfully continues, I could have just put up Blood of Kings, and Lilith might not have been able to assassinate me, and I could have just walked around with the Vlad after I had engaged the Ravagores with my Jacks. Somehow I feel like that might have been more difficult to do than it was to say, but the other problem was that I dropped the ball earlier and he'd been one up on control points, so if the game had gone to time due to me slow playing it, I would have lost. So just an unfortunate matchup the first round, me playing badly and carelessly and without experience of the list, but I'm just have to take that in my stride. It's going to be very hard for me to come first in the tournament, and that was my goal, but with any luck I can win the next 5 games and be on 6-1, and hopefully the other guys at the top of the tables will also be 6-1, and maybe I can capture a lot of control points with E-Butcher and get a tie break to go to the final. So that's going to be the goal, so keep watching with me as I try to pursue that.